Kim Jong Un lives in a palace so far removed from the poverty of his people that it almost seems unimaginable. While he surrounds himself with European imports and feels like a king, the people of North Korea struggle with extreme hunger and even the most basic necessities of life. But what truly sets Kim Jong Un apart is not only the luxury he enjoys, but also his boundless power. This power stretches over the life and death of his subjects and is further reinforced by the extreme cult of personality he has built around himself. But what kind of life does this man really lead? A life defined by real excesses and an increasingly distorted sense of reality. Imagine being a ruler who lives in abundance every single day while your own people suffer. What must be going on inside a person to live such a life? Every morning, Kim Jong Un receives treatment that places him far beyond the reality of most North Koreans. While an ordinary person wakes up just to somehow get through the day, the dictator is awakened by two girls whose task is to sweeten his morning. This is not the life of a normal human being. It is a life that revolves around power, control, and luxury, and it goes even further. The alarm clock in Kim Jong Un's bedroom is not the only thing tailored specifically to him. The shoes he wears are imported from Arab countries and cost a small fortune. These shoes are not just a symbol of status, they are also a tool to demonstrate his power. In earlier times, boys were responsible for putting his shoes on, but after one incident, in which a boy accidentally put the shoes on the wrong way, that boy was never seen again. The message was clear, no mistakes. And then there are the stories about Kim Jong Un's pleasure squad, a secretly organized group of girls who are specially trained to fulfill his wishes. These girls are not only responsible for entertainment, they are part of a system of control and submission. If one of them refuses, it does not only affect her personally, her entire family may suffer the consequences. This is the horror of a system that is built on absolute power structures, where the will of the dictator stands above everything else. Kim Jong Un's luxurious lifestyle is also not limited to his personal enjoyment. It is reported that he spends around $30 million every year on wine alone, and this is no ordinary wine. A single bottle can cost more than $100,000. It is a level of decadence that would be almost unthinkable in the Western world. While the rest of the world struggles with everyday problems, he lives in a world of wealth and luxury that has lost every connection to reality. The food Kim Jong Un eats is just as extravagant. From special Italian dishes prepared by exclusive European chefs to the most expensive delicacies you can imagine. Kim Jong Un leaves nothing undone to underline his status as the ultimate ruler. Even in his leisure habits, his contempt for the people becomes visible. He smokes cigarettes that cost more than a North Korean earns in an entire month. For him, such expenses are nothing. They are just another symbol of his power and his wealth. But this luxury goes far beyond his daily consumption. Inside his palace, there are entire units whose sole purpose is to fulfill Kim Jong Un's wishes. While ordinary people in North Korea are watched and controlled by the state, the dictator lives like a god, protected by an army of soldiers and surrounded by an environment that shields him from the reality of his people. Every step he takes is embedded in a system of luxury and control. This systematic separation from the world outside his palace leads to a deep alienation from the real needs of his population. Although Kim Jong Un has a family, he seems to show little genuine interest in them. Instead of spending time with his wife and children, he prefers to spend his nights in the palace with the girls from the pleasure squad. Doctors have advised him to reduce his consumption of alcohol and cigarettes, but he ignores their recommendations. The life of a ruler without limits and without consideration for others simply seems too tempting. Yet the more he hides himself in his palace, the more he disconnects from the harsh and deprived reality his people are forced to endure. This lifestyle is not just a personal preference, it is also a deliberate decision to isolate himself from the rest of the world. Kim Jong Un has withdrawn into a world where the only people who see him are those who serve him or worship him. While he lives in artificial luxury, the people of his country barely have access to the most basic necessities of life. This unbelievable gulf between ruler and people is not only a matter of wealth, but also of power and control. The dictator lives in a world where there are no limits to his luxury, while his people live in a world shaped by poverty and hardship. So what kind of life does this man really lead, knowing that he ignores the well-being of his own population? His life does not revolve around political responsibility or genuine concern for the people he rules. It revolves around his desires, his excess, and the power he exercises. How much freedom does a person truly have when he spends his entire life inside such a bubble of excess and detachment from the outside world? Kim Jong Un's life may look like one of absolute control and happiness from the outside, but in reality, it reveals a disturbing truth. Nobody can truly be happy in a system built on power and decadence. The question remains, would you live Kim Jong Un's life if you had the chance? Is this really the kind of life you would wish for? Or does it seem more like a farce, a staged performance on the biggest stage in the world? Kim Jong Un lives in a system based on power, control, and isolation. But how much freedom does someone really have who spends his life inside such a bubble? While his people live in poverty and suffer under the brutal control of his regime, Kim Jong Un seems to enjoy life to the fullest. But how long can he stay in this bubble before it eventually bursts? What do you think about this life? Is it a life anyone should strive for? Or does it simply show how deep the gap between power and people runs in authoritarian regimes? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to discover more about the world of those in power and the secrets they try to hide.